Okay guys, as you can see, finally my Taran Tactical, or the XM1014 or UDL 1014, as you can see it's made by UDL or UD. Um, yeah, so I finally got mine. It took ages, it took months to get here. I ordered it when these came out and it took so long to get here. I'm going to be ordering the other ones as well because I've seen the quality of this one now. But yeah, we'll finally get into the video. So I ordered just the upgrade kit. It came with the gloves. I gave them to someone else because they're so small. But it should have come with a scope and one flashlight or laser. I got two. As you can see, I've got my shell ejection Glock, which a lot of people think this is a myth. It is real, as you can see. You know, it doesn't take gas. It's magic. It's the magic Glock. That's what I call it. But yeah, I've put it on there. So yeah, but there's nowhere, as you know, on an XM1014, there's nowhere to put a fucking red dot or anything like that because there's no Picatinny rails on any of the grips, unless you change the front grip to have a Picatinny rail one on it, or fix one on it yourself. You're not going to have any sort of things like this. So yeah, it's useless. So I'm going to have to contact the seller. There's no scope either, but I'd probably be alright without one anyway because it is a Nerf shotgun. Excuse me. Yeah. So these started out as gel blasters. They were exactly the same guns. The only things that have been modified are the shells. They were, if you look at the gel blaster reviews, when they show you the shells, there's sort of three holes. This only has one hole for the Nerf dart. You could very quite easily load this with the gel blaster versions, but I've heard that most gel blaster guns are pretty crap. When the guns are good, they destroy the gel darts. When they're not very good, they just sort of fall out the end of the gun. So it came with some darts, but it didn't come with a box. This is what pissed me off. It should have come in a cardboard box, say an XM1014. I would have showed that off. So I'm showing it off like this instead because it didn't come with one. And these would have been in the box next to it. But these were all the gun was in pieces and taped together. So the main piece, and so the stocker tube, the handguard, and I think that was it. Was all stuck to the body. So I had to take all that off, and these were stuck to it too. So I've got a few scuff marks, including this one here. I don't know if you can see. I'll bring this up closer. You can sort of see it's all scuffed on the edge of here. That's not me. There's a few things like that on this. That's just from actually getting here because I haven't shot this yet. I'm going to shoot it in the video. So I'm going to be ordering the other versions that they make as well. But they shoot shortened darts. I've got half shells filled with suction, half filled with normal. One of the shells, I think, is a normal Nerf dart because I've cut one down myself. Yeah, it's got Nerf written on the end of it. That's how you can tell. And also, it's a bit better quality. So yeah, so a lot of these were like this in the packaging. So I've made a few myself. And yeah, you can sort of see these sort of are like 20 gauge shells. They've got rubber gasket in there. I'm hoping this will work quite well. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I was very shocked about the weight of it. It's very good weight. Very good build quality. A lot of people would think, oh, it's cheap because of the way the white looks. This is better than like PVC tubing you'd get at like a hardware store. It's much better quality. So I'm going to come down a bit closer, get my knees out of the way. Show you the traits on this. It's got a couple of things on here, make it a bit more realistic. 12 gauge, there you go. 3¼ inch shells. Read owner's manual before use. Does come with the owner's manual. I forgot to bring that down, but it's in Chinese. It just shows you how to put the stock on it. That's pretty much it. It doesn't show you how to put the gun together, which is sort of the main thing. So the pump, it's made of polymer, but if you look inside, there's metal rails. This is what it's actually pumped with. And then it's sort of guarded with this plastic thing here. So I'm hoping all the corresponding parts are metal too, because there's no point having a metal rail attached to a plastic tube, because plastic wears out on metal regardless of how good quality plastic is. Even like something like this, if this was attached to the rails it would wear out. So I'm hoping the internals are good. We've got a metal dust cover that's been like chiseled out almost, not chiseled out, but you know the word. like plated. So when you actually look, I think it's connected to a metal ejector, as you can see in there, black metal ejector, and you can see the pump is attached to that too. So it seems to be all quite good quality parts inside of here. Very massive weight to it, feels almost like the real thing. I really like the Taran Tactical. It reminds me of Dead Island and stuff like that, and Dying Light. I can't remember the actual name of the company that makes the guns in it, or the name of the island, because I think it's named after the island. Someone can quote me on that. And there's the name of the brand as well, UDL. UDAOL is the actual full name of the company, but I guess they shortened it for that. We have our own product number as well, serial number. Seems to be 2, one on the gun, one there as well. Fully adjustable ghost ring, which is I really like, but you have to be careful with this rail because it is a Picatinny rail, but it's all made of plastic. So when you are attaching your real sights and stuff, make sure you loosen all the parts, put it where you want, lock it down, make sure you don't drag it across these teeth because you will wear them down. Some parts are supposed to be rubberized, like this grip, this stock here, but it's like this sort of rubberized, as you can see, but it's plastic underneath, and it's not as thick as the real one, so it is a replica. So, and it's a little bit thinner, the stock is, than the real one. As you can see, it's quite thin. The real one sort of sticks out. So there are little things that are smaller. This grip is much more squared than the real one. I don't know if you can see how squared that is. I shot the real one. I think that's because this might be modelled, 3D modelled on a real one, and the real one has a, as you can see, the seam here would be the Hogue rubber, really thick rubber grip, but it's squidgy, so this would squidge to your hand, whereas because it's made out of polymer, or nylon, is what people have been saying this is made of online, it's sort of a bit more chunkier. I've had to sand down this seam. As you can see, it's really thick. I've had to sand it down. That's smoother now, but it's still quite thick. Because of this issue, it digs right into your hand. Same on this lip here. This lip should be actually higher. It's a little bit too angled down. Only by a millimetre or so, but it digs into your hand, regardless of your hand size. I know I've got big hands, but just the ergonomics of it. If your hand stopped here, your hand would still come up here into this shape. So you will find that when you order this as well. I think this was actually the crossbolt safety on the real one, but it's here on here. Not bad quality, you can't really mess up crossbolt safety, but I must confess, I really don't like this trigger. That's the only thing I don't like about this. It's really spongy, and it has like a dead, that's like wiggle room before you can put it. And it's plasticky as well, it's very plasticky, it has a seam in the middle of the trigger, it doesn't feel great. Has a hole for the shell, but it doesn't actually hold it, so it's really unnecessary, this hole. And it's red as well, it's a bit strange. It's the only red piece, other than the cap, which you can remove fully, and it has the spring for the tube. And if your shells aren't fully loading, you can stretch your spring a little bit and have, it will load a bit better. So like I said, it has a nice weight to it. But yeah, so I've gone over the features. I'm not sure if I've gone over things a few times because this video's stopped a few times. So, but yeah, so we're going to try loading it and having a mess around with it and see how it goes. So, bring the video back a little bit. So, I'm actually going to turn the other way. I'm going to come round because you can't see anything that's going on here. There we go. Much better angle. So, you can see all the niceness of it. You can see this is why I wouldn't spray. It's very realistic. I like the colour scheme because it's so realistic. It's nice to have a fake colour scheme. You have a spring in the stock, so you can rotate it, check your chamber, and load it for left-handers. For right-handers, you can sort of only check your chamber. You can't really load sideways like this, and you can't. The stock doesn't rotate this way. rotates the other way, but doesn't rotate the way you need it to for right-handers. For me, it does. Very sturdy stock though. The spring is quite tight, so you have to lock it into your shoulder to get it to turn. But I like that. It's very realistic to the real one. What else can I say? It's very heavy. It's actually a very heavy gun. Seems to almost like they've got the real shell loader from the real one as well. Very realistic. The only other red piece I can see is the retaining tube. As you can see inside of here, it's red. I think it should have been blue or something, just to differentiate between the shells. But I suppose you can tell the difference. So most people cock it back first to load it, and then proceed to do that. But I'm actually going to load the bottom first, just because I like to check the feeding, just to see how well it goes. You can really see how well it feeds like this. So when you've loaded the first shell, the shells after that, it feels realistic. It feels just like loading a real shell. You have the same sort of tension. Yeah, so there you go. I've loaded that max shell. Once you sort of get there, you can't do anything. It spits it back out, and the door also spits it back out as well. So a lot of people mess that up on trading. And I think because I've left this cocked, you can now cock with the handle. I wouldn't recommend pre-cocking, like only cocking it the first time of this, because you have to attach this yourself, and it's quite wobbly no matter how much you tighten it. So yeah, there we go, loaded. I'm going to fire it out the window. I don't know what ones they are loaded in this. There we go. There we go. You probably didn't see just because I was actually trying to shoot. One of the darts stuck to the window. It doesn't fire that great actually. I was expecting it to hit the window and come back. They were barely reaching the window, and I'm only about 4 foot away, not even like 10 meters away and feet away, literally. We have one more shell somewhere. There we go. You can see my face. Drop it in, load it. That one barely fell out of the barrel, that one. So, not really impressed with the shooting of this at all. Mainly because it loaded too then. Mainly because it doesn't really shoot them that far. So you can load this with the pump back, which is quite bizarre. I haven't seen that before. Usually if you have it back you can't really do this. So it's mainly just the function, I guess. Yeah, unfortunately it just doesn't pack any punch. Quite a lot of oil in this, which I'm impressed about. Very loud. So firing it is very loud, so be careful of that one late at night. But just playing with it is quite cool. It's very smooth. That one is failing to eject for some reason. Maybe it's because when you fire it, it sort of makes sure it ejects properly. So if you're clever like me, you can load your shells. Load one in the chamber, just gets out of the way. You can load it like the trench gun, not the trench gun, the lever action. It's all about the way you put the shells. You can see you can drop it in there quite well. I've loaded it all. It's now fully loaded, and I loaded it all from the top. The gun is very heavy. Hold it in one hand, it likes to fall out of your hand. So I'm just going to try pumping it without shooting it. See, that last one, it really doesn't like to eject, and I think that's because you have to shoot it. So yeah, I'm going to load a few more shells. Not really impressed with this, so you're going to have to stay tuned for part 2. Just because I'm not seeing anything I would say that's great out of this. It's very loud too for what it does. It's almost silly. It's not very good. Even with an official Nerf dart, I don't think it's going to make any difference. Let's load one official. That one was a bit better. That one came back. So stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to try different ammo with this. And yeah, we'll see if we can get any improvements out of this. But so far, it's more of a replica. Just because it doesn't really shoot that well. There you go. So you know, if you know what you're doing, you can like eject the shell without cocking it, and you know, load it without loading it through the bottom and stuff like that. You can also double load, which I haven't actually tried yet. There's plenty of ways you can load this gun. There you go, 2 shells. You can also eject your shells through the bottom. If you press the retainer, you can get them to drop out. So, yeah, I can teach you guys so much. There's also a way to ghost load this, so you could have all the shells it came with and an extra shell as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more because I've got plenty more things to show you. But I'd rate this gun a 3 out of 5 because it excels up to 3, like all the way it looks and everything and the way it functions, but then the actual distance the darts go doesn't reach the mark so far. But that score might change in the future, and I'm going to order the other guns as well, and there's another version of this as well, so we're going to be checking those out. And yeah, so stay tuned for more videos like this. It's sort of the best I can really do with the shape of this gun, the way this sort of video is laid out. But I hope it was informative. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for some first-person footage as well, so you can actually see where the darts went. But if you imagine the end strike Nerf guns, they sort of fire and barely come out the gun sometimes, and sometimes they would go far. They're sort of like that. But yeah. I'm impressed with the way it feels and the weight of it and everything. But yeah, so stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching, guys. I would like to say as well, it has when you pump it forward on the real version, you have a lock, and the lock here isn't real because this doesn't lock, which I do like. It doesn't lock. So yeah, that's it really. It's sort of just a fake lock, but yeah, that's what I'd point that out. There isn't really much else I can really say. There isn't really any need to adjust these sights either, even though they're really adjustable. But yeah, so stay tuned for more. I will definitely do more on this, see if I can get any better performance out of it. Thanks for watching, guys.